Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about Ed Miliband's proposal that all new homes will now have to have solar panels built into those properties. Will that increase house prices? Will that impact developers wanting to build developments and hit that 1.5 million homes that Labour's promised us? Well, we'll talk about that and more in this video. And if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 44,000 subscribers and I appreciate every single one. By subscribing, you'll get all the latest property news, mortgage rate news, interest rate news, and how to invest in property as well. And let's get some more views on this video by smashing like, tickling like, doing something to the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and that's really helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So what's going on? Well, Ed Miliband is really making things difficult for a lot of people. Firstly, they're looking at this EPC stuff. We've done tons of videos on the channel here and the government are planning to roll out new EPC rules. And so the new EPC rules will mean that landlords need to get their properties to a level C in order to be able to rent their property out. Now, the problem with that is that the government want landlords to spend a minimum of 15 grand per property. That's going to be really tough to do. We don't have the tradespeople to do it as well, which is going to cause really great problems as well. Plus, is it going to happen? That's the thing that with all this government stuff, a lot of people aren't sure whether it will happen or if the government will U-turn on that. So the newest news is that Ed Miliband is saying that new build properties all will need solar. Now you might say, isn't that already a thing? Well, there are some rules around solar on new build properties and you've got to look to have around 40% of the area that you covered in solar. But this is going to take it to the next step and not have any exemptions and mean that all properties have got to do that. And it will be looked at the planning stage. So if you don't have the solar, you're not looking likely to get the planning approved. Now, I don't have a massive problem with that, but let's talk about when this might happen. So firstly, it's Ed Miliband who is talking about this. And this is, he's saying, is expected to be happen by the autumn of this year. Now, the government always put these realistic targets. I'm joking. They don't. They put targets and then they roll them back and they don't hit them and they don't hit them and they get kicked down the road. So we'll see what happens here. But what Ed's saying is that by installing solar on your property, you will save 500 per year. Now, solar can cost around 15 grand to install. That means it's going to take a fair while to get your money back to get these savings. Now, this implies that the builder would do the solar at the time of building. That's when this is going to happen. Now, the problem with that is that the Home Builders Federation have said that, look, you've got a target of building 1.5 million properties. We're massively behind on that. That's not likely to happen. And now you're putting extra things that you want into that process, and that bureaucracy, the processes required to get this all done, is going to slow down that home building even further. It also might put off some builders from actually building because all of this extra stuff that you're forcing them to do increases costs. And when Miliband was interviewed by the BBC on exactly this weekend, he was asked, by adding and forcing home builders to add solar to the property, will that increase the cost that the property is sold to market? His response is no. I don't buy that. If you're a builder and you're forced to add a £15,000 solar package into your costs, that is going to get passed on at the time of sale. You don't do that out the kindness of your own heart. And I just don't understand when governments say these kind of things. They want builders to reduce their profits when they're struggling, some of them anyway, with higher interest rates, with a slowing market. And you want them to say, yeah, you can add an additional cost and you can't pass it on at the time of sale. That's just not going to be how this works. This will add to the cost of new build properties for sure. Now, will this happen? I think this could happen. I think this is something that the government already have some solar rules on new build properties and making them more energy efficient. I don't think it's a big stretch in order to get this added into it. Will it slow down building projects? Because that is what's going to impact house prices. That's going to impact social housing lists and all of this stuff. I think it will. I think the additional costs might stop some projects from going ahead. I think the additional work in getting this through the planning might slow things down, and that will slow down the amount of properties that we get done. And we still have a labour shortage as well. We don't have enough solar installers. We don't have enough people to do all these EPC retrofits that we've got. And I think the government needs to come up with a smarter plan if this is what they want. Right now, I don't think this is going to work as well as they think it will and as easily as they think it will. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about Mr. Miliband saying you've got to have solar on your new property? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts, questions and opinions. What was also interesting is it wasn't long ago, only 2 months ago, that potentially Ed Miliband was going to get kicked out of the cabinet. That seems to have gone a bit quiet now, but maybe that will come back as well. Do smash like, do subscribe, do check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.